First 7 instructions are about Vedai Sadhana Bhakti. Then the 8th instruction is Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. And 9 to 10th is Bhav Bhakti and Prem Bhakti. 9, 10, and 11. Okay, preface. What did we read? The goal of Krishna consciousness and the means of attaining it. And then text 1 is controlling the 6 urges. Text 2 is obstacles to devotional service. So controlling the 6 urges. Quick revision. Yes, please raise your hand. Controlling the 6 urges. What are the 6 urges? Yes. Who will tell me? Only one person has raised hands. Yes, Archana Mataji. What are the 6 urges?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, the surges are that if we can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, our anger, and urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals.
Very
and
nice.
such a person can make disciples all over the world.
Very nice. Thank you. Okay, now the obstacles to devotional service. Yes, what are the obstacles to devotional service? Dr. Parekh. Yes, Dr. Parekh. What are the obstacles? You are not
Sorry,
audible.
Mataji, I raised my hand in the last question.
Okay, then answer me that, please.
It's tolerate the urges of the speaking, of the questions of the minds and anger, and then control of jiva, I mean the taste, tongue, control of the udar, that is abdomen, and the upastha, genitals.
Very nice. Thank you, Dr. Parekh. Okay, obstacles to devotional service. 6 obstacles are there. Yes, Sapna. Little
Hare
girl.
Krishna Mataji.
Di bol.
Mataji, first one is Atyahara, eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required. Second is Prayasa, over endeavoring for mundane things. Third is Prajalpa, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject. And Niyamagraha is the regulative principles. Niyamagraha and
Not
Niyamagraha.
following them or following them just for the sake of following them. Niyam Agraha and Agraha. Okay.
And Janasanga, association with worldly minded person. And Lauliam, greedy. That's
Very
all.
nice. Very nice. Thank you. Okay, principles that aid in devotional service. What are the 6 principles that aid in devotional service? Yes, Vindhya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
So the 6 principles. First one, Utsaha. Utsaha means enthusiastic. Then Nichaya, confidence. Then Dhairya means patience. Tatat Karma Pravartanat means activities favorable for devotional service. Then Sangatyagat means giving the association of mundane people or non-devotees. Then following the footstep of previous acharyas.
Did you say 6 or 5?
6.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Let's see. Okay, Vibha, what are the 6 principles that aid in devotional service?
Mataji, being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna, abandoning the association of non-devotees, and following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas.
Correct. Thanks, Satyaprabhu. What is it called as Sanskrit of this? Anyway.
Mataji, I don't know the Sanskrit.
Thank you very much. Okay, 6 loving exchanges between the devotees that enhance the devotional service. Lakshmi Nishtala Mataji, 6 loving exchanges.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Offering prasadam and taking prasadam. Offering prasadam to devotees and taking prasadam from devotees. Second one is discussing in confidence and about their problems and explaining about our problems. And third one is giving in charity and taking in charity.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
So, 6.5 association according to the level of advancement. Okay, in this particular verse, I'll just ask for 3 types of devotees, 3 levels of devotees. Just name them. The 3 levels of devotees. What are the 3? No Prabhu, girls rock, or girls rule. My children sing this song. Girls rule, boys rule. Anyway, Deshpande, I don't know, Mataji or Prabhuji.
Yeah, I'm Jyotsna.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, three types of
Types of
devotees. Just
devotees
name.
are Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, thank you very much. So today's verse is about this, associating with pure devotee. So how to associate with the Mahabhagavata or Uttamadhikari is what Rupa Goswami Prabhupada is going to tell us. Text 6 discusses further how we should associate with devotees, especially with the spiritual master who is understood to be transcendently situated. Okay, so this is a very solid, very, very intense verse. Okay, I will chant and then 5 of you can chant behind me. Everyone can chant behind me, behind the mic, but unmute business. दृष्टे स्वभावा जनितेर्वपुश्च वपुश्च च दोषेत् न प्रकृतत्वम् इह भक्ता जनस्य पश्येत् गंगाभसं न खलौ बुद्बुधो फेन पंकेर् ब्रह्माद्रवतम् अपगच्छति नीरधर्मे. वासुदेवन प्रभु.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी.
हाँ,
दृष्टे स्वभावः जनैर्वपुषा च दोषे न प्रकृतं त्वम् इह भक्ता जनस्य पश्येत् गंगाम्बसां न खलौ बुद्बुधो फेन पान्केर् ब्रह्मद्रवत्वम् अपगच्छति नीरधर्मैः.
very nice. Thank you, Prabhu. So healing voice, huh? Uma Karan Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी. दृष्टै स्वभाव जनितैर्वपुषश्च दोषैर् न प्राकृतत्वम् इह भक्त जनस्य पश्येत् गंगाम्भसां न खलु बुद्बुदफेन पंकैर् ब्रह्माद्रवत्वम् अपगच्छति नीरधर्मै. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Sujata TK Mataji, I've been requesting you to unmute. Where did she go? Oh, Krishna. Mataji, unmute again. Sujata TK Mataji.
Mataji, I would like to read Mataji.
Okay.
I may find this difficult to chant.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So, person who has not said anything today. Priyadarshini Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Mataji. दृष्टै स्वभाव जनितैर्वपुचश्च दोषैर् न प्रकृतत्वम् इह भक्त जनस्य पश्येत् गंगाम्बसां न खलु बुद्बुदफेन पंकैर् ब्रह्मद्रवतम् अपगच्छति नीरधर्मै. हरे कृष्ण माताजी.
धन्यवाद. Thank you, Mataji. Vijaya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. दृष्टै स्वभाव जनितै बभुचश्च दोषै न प्रकृतात्वम् इह भक्त जनस्य पश्येत् गंगाभसां न कालो बुद्बुदफेन पाङ्कैर् ब्रह्मद्रवत्वम् अपगच्छति निराधर्मैः.
Thank you, Mataji. Geeta Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. द्रष्टै स्वभावा जनैर्वपुषश्च दोषैर् न प्रकृतत्वम् इह भक्त जनस्य पश्येत् गंगाभसं भासं न खलु बुद्धद फेन पंकैर् ब्रह्मद्रवत्वम् अपगच्छति निरधर्मैः.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so Sujata TK Mataji, Leena Bhatt Mataji, Dr. Indira Mataji, just keep your hands raised. You will read. Okay. So what does this mean? Don't get scared with the next verse, next slide, but I will explain what it is. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from the materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee having a body born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased body, or infirm body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee. But despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is exactly like the waters of the Ganges, which sometimes during the rainy season are full of bubbles, foam, and mud. The Ganges waters do not become polluted. Those who are advanced in spiritual understanding will bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of the water. Okay, these are the things which are discussed in this verse. A Mahabhagavata is a person who is situated in his original Krishna conscious position. A pure devotee does not identify with the body. I forgot to make the animation. Such a devotee should not be seen from the materialistic point of view. Okay, because the devotee is not identifying themselves with the body. So they should not be seen from the materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee having a body born in a low family. Like we have example of Haridas Thakur. We don't even have the whereabouts of Haridas Thakur Prabhupada's parents, but it looks like he was born in a low family. But he is called as a Namacharya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu named him as Namacharya, the most perfect being who has perfected the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Or a body with a bad complexion, or a deformed body, or disease or infirm body. Okay, according to ordinary vision, such imperfection may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee, but despite such seeming defect, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is like the Ganges water. So this instruction talks about these things. What is Shuddha Bhakti or pure devotional service? Because a pure devotee means he is doing or she is doing a pure devotional service, right? But what is Shuddha Bhakti? How Lord's devotees should not be seen. Okay. And then in that, Prabhupada also explains Vaishnava Aparadh, which is a very, very big topic. What are the consequences of offending a Vaishnava? What constitutes what constitutes somebody is unmuted? What constitutes an offense? And avoiding the aparadh and then overcoming the consequences. Okay, so these are the things which are discussed in this particular instruction. So we will start with what is Shuddha Bhakti. In Chaitanya Chaitamrita, Madhya Leela, this particular verse has a lot of references from Chaitanya Chaitamrita, a lot. So Shuddha Bhakti is defined in Madhya Leela chapter 19, 167th verse. Which verse? This verse also comes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in first canto, first chapter, 11th verse. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavritam anukulena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. So what is this verse? I'm going to explain this verse today. So this is almost like a Bhagavatam class. Prabhupada says this. In this Krishna consciousness movement, one's consciousness must be changed. If the consciousness is aimed towards material enjoyment, it is material consciousness. And if it is aimed towards Krishna, it is Krishna consciousness. So what is there in your consciousness? Okay. Nobody can see that consciousness other than you and the Lord inside you. So that has to be changed. Okay, so first word of the verse is Anyabhilashita Shunyam. What is Anyabhilashita Shunyam? A surrendered soul serves Krishna without material considerations. No material considerations. Oh, I am suffering so much. I am not going to serve God because Krishna is so partial, right? Some people say like this, we have been chanting Hare Krishna all our life. Why did I face the suffering? Well, why not? Who said that suffering will not come by chanting Hare Krishna? There is a difference between pain and suffering. Sita is expert in explaining these two terms. So Sita, what is the difference between pain and suffering, if I may request you to tell?
Hare Krishna Mataji. So the way you explained it once was pain is just a physical effect of, incurring a hurt. For example, if I'm walking and I just hit my small toe, there's a lot of pain associated with that. That will go away in the period of time. But what you define suffering is more of mental concoction, saying, hi, Tauba, I hurt God myself, I can't do this, I can't do that. So if that thought process keeps continuing in your head, that is never going to end. So pain will take away its time to go away, but the suffering is something that you can control. So we will have that in life. About how we take that pain and manage it is what suffering.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so there's a difference. So a devotee of Krishna may have pain, but they don't suffer. You see, if you go and ask Maharani Kunti, Queen Kunti, you go and ask her that, are you suffering? Because you see, you were so young, your husband died, and then you were left with 5 young children to raise. And then they were then now your oldest child was supposed to be coronated to the kingdom, but then now you all are going to the jungle and you are going with them, even though you're not been asked to go, but you're going with them. Does she say it is suffering? No, she actually prays to Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam, give me more of those calamities. I am praying for calamities because seeing calamities means seeing you, Krishna. So I would rather have calamities because I can see you in those calamities. Now that our calamities are over, you're going away. Right? Krishna was leaving them. So she was telling, don't go, Krishna. So there is no material consideration. Oh, I should have a kingdom. I should have this body. I should have this particular job. I should have this particular physical situation. This much earning. No. Anya bilashita shunyam. Then the next part is jnana karmadi anavritam. Unalloyed devotional service, unalloyed. Now, Anasha Prabhu explains this very nicely. Alloy means mixture. You see, there are alloyed metals, right? There, for example, brass is what? Copper and manganese is brass. So you alloy the metal. Or stainless steel is an alloyed metal. Like that, bronze is an alloyed metal. Like there is a mixture of 2 metals or more. But unalloyed, no mixture. No mixture of what? No mixture of what? Unalloyed devotional service, which is transcendental to the activities of the body and mind, such as jnana, mental speculation, and karma, fruity work, is called as pure bhakti. So being in the pure devotional service of Krishna is not so easy. Are we here? Do we have any material considerations? Is my devotional service Mishra Bhakti mixed with something, jnana and karma, or it is Shuddha Bhakti, not mixed? Okay. And then the next verse is Sagunan Samatityetan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. This is from this other verse. This is not from this particular verse. This is in, I think, 9th chapter Bhagavad Gita. One actually engages in unalloyed, uncontaminated devotional service is already liberated. Okay, so liberation means, so actually Krishna consciousness begins from the liberated stage. Liberation means liberated from the concept that I am the body, completely free. This is called liberation, and one can be liberated even in their present material body. Liberation is not a big deal in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada says liberation stands with folded hands on our doorsteps, but we start serving Krishna with that. How Lord's devotee should not be seen. Okay, so this is the first word is what is Shuddha Bhakti, right? Shuddha Bhakti, I covered the verse. And the second aspect of this verse is how Lord's devotee should not be seen. So no one should criticize the bodily defects of a pure devotee. If there are such defects, they should be overlooked. What should be taken into account is the spiritual master's main business, which is pure devotional service. Devotional service, pure service to the Supreme Lord. Okay, so we have Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. So we cannot say that there is a bodily defect. There is no, you can't. Because you look at the main business of the devotee. Main business of spiritual master is to engage one in the pure devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Number 2, how we should not see the devotees. Don't find fault in a pure devotee. Mahabhagavata has no fault. Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita 9.30, Apichet se duracharo bhajante mam ananya bhag. Sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. You see, so many people come to Krishna consciousness. So once they become serious and they give up their abominable activities, they are no more abominable. They're saintly. We have example of the Jagai Madai. We have example of Mrigari Rishi. Right? We have example of Mrigari Rishi that who was half killing the animals and throwing them here and there. And then when he became serious about the instructions of Narad Muni, he was saintly. He cannot be considered as not saintly. So don't look at the background research of a pure devotee. You may know it, but that's it. Don't go on speculating. And then how a devotee should not be seen? Don't go and hunt for their family background, their last name. What is their caste? You see, I'm hearing nowadays caste system. have to be in a particular caste because Krishna is born in this caste, as if Krishna can't take birth on another caste. You see, Prabhupada explains in first canto Srimad Bhagavatam, Malaya. Malaya is a place where sandalwood is abundant. Prabhupada explains from Bhagavatam. Malaya is a place where sandalwood is found is abundance. That's why that place is called Malaya, Mane Chandan. Okay, so Krishna is called Yaduvansh because he appeared in the Yadava dynasty. But our Prabhupada gives example of UD Colon, because Cologne is a country in France, is a place in France where UD, this particular perfume, was invented. So the name of the perfume is UD Cologne. But that doesn't mean that the Chandan cannot grow out of Malaya. Or that doesn't mean that Krishna cannot appear out of the Yadava dynasty. Just because of Krishna's presence, that dynasty became decorated. Otherwise, there is nothing special about it without Krishna. Okay, please understand that Krishna cannot be caught in your paradigms, that Krishna is subjected to this particular caste and I am born to this caste, so I belong to Krishna's caste. Such a small neophyte devotee, that person is Kanishta Adhikari, because they're trying to bind Krishna in something. How can you bind Krishna? Krishna is like sun. Can you bind sun? No. So we should not look at the family background. Even though a pure devotee may not be born in a Brahmana or Goswami family, if he is engaged in the service of the Lord, he should not be neglected. See, Prabhupada set this thing in motion. Prabhupada went to the foreign countries and made these drug addicts as proper Vaishnavas, gave sannyas order. It's a very high degree. Okay, people like me will go and find fault in them and run away. Right? But Prabhupada saw the soul. And Prabhupada, because he saw the soul, he was able to bring them near to Krishna. He did not see these defects. This is Boston. This is a very old picture when Boston Temple was not where it is right now. And I know when Mataji was giving class and she was talking, she's one of the devotees dancing in this temple, that how they used to go out in the morning to do Harinam on the streets. I know this street. Outside of Boston Common Park, and how they would like dance, and they're all born in America. None of them is Indian. Okay, so-called Indian and so-called American. In actuality, they cannot be a family of Goswami based on material consideration, caste, or heredity. See, some people say, no, Goswami, we are Goswami. In Vrindavan, if you go, there are people who claim themselves to be Goswami. But that family consideration is not important. What is the character behind it? Okay, Goswami means what? Actually, Goswami title is the monopoly of the pure devotees. It's a monopoly of pure devotee. No one else can have this Goswami. Prabhupada gives example of another name, Mahajan. Mahajan means that person who is a pure devotee of Krishna. Not that Mahajan is like one caste. Everything is topsy-turvy nowadays. So now we talk about the Vaishnava Aparad. So far we spoke about Shuddha Bhakti, then we spoke about how we should not see a pure devotee. And now if we see a pure devotee by some of our tainted vision, then we commit offenses. So this particular verse talks about it. Vaishnava Aparad means offending a Vaishnava. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I have wrote it in red to warn, to blaspheme the devotee who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. I'm sorry, this T should not be there. This is the first offense of chanting Hare Krishna. There are 10 offenses to the holy name. When we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, there are 10. Number 1 offense is this: to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for the propagation of the holy name of the Lord. This is called as mad elephant offense. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calls it as Hattimata. Hattimata means mad elephant. If you are in a jungle and you come across a mad elephant, you can't tame that elephant. Because if a mad elephant will go to a nice garden and will destroy it. So this particular offense actually destroys one's own Krishna consciousness. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't give shelter to that person. Consequences of offending a Vaishnava, very serious. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has described this offense as Hattimata, the mad elephant offense, very obstructive and dangerous. A person cannot derive any spiritual benefit when he offends the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Closed. The door is closed. One may be chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Well, a parrot is also chanting. The essence will be gone. Krishna will disappear from his Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Okay, Hare Krishna Mahamantra is alive. The mantra is living. Krishna dances on the tongue of the devotee. But if we commit an offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, done. You may be chanting some vocabulary, some Sanskrit, some whatever language, but no Krishna. Okay, so this is a pastime of. Anybody knows what pastime it is? Yes, you can raise your hand. This is from Chaitanya Chaitamrita. Anybody knows what pastime it is? Some hands are raised. Are they? Can you please lower your hands? Whoever's hand is raised, if you don't know the answer. Okay, I'm gonna lower the hands and then. Minakshi Mittal Mataji, you know this pastime? There should not be so much dead air in the when we are live.
Mataji,
Yes,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Yes.
Mataji, I think this, I'm not sure. This is during the time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was trying to go to Vrindavan, and I forgot the name of the devotee. I think Shri Advaita Acharya.
Okay,
Not
Mataji.
sure.
I'll take
So
him. Thank
he
you.
actually tried to stop him going
Nine,
and
nine.
for her.
No,
No?
Mataji, no. We're talking about Vaishnava Aparad now. Thank you. Okay, so this is from Chaitanya Chaitamrita, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual master's name is Ishwarapuri. I'm sorry, yes, Ishwarapuri. Ishwarapuri's spiritual master is Madhavendra Puri. Okay, so remember, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual master is Ishwarapuri. Ishwarapuri's spiritual master is Madhavendra Puri. So Ishwarapuri had a god brother by the name Ramachandra Puri. This is Ramachandra Puri. Okay, so Ramachandra Puri, he was, when Madhavendra Puri was winding up his pastimes from the material world, and his body was going to, he was going to leave his body. He was laying on the bed one day and he was remembering Krishna, and he was on a Bhava Bhakti platform. And he was saying, I have wasted my life. I did not think of Krishna, Mukunda all my life. What did I do? Now I am so old and I'm leaving my body. He's lamenting, but he was in ecstasy. So Madhavendra Puri was the spiritual master of Ramachandra Puri. But Ramachandra Puri was serving his spiritual master and he advised his spiritual master. He gave advice to his spiritual master. Don't lament. Krishna can give his holy name and shelter even at the time of death to a person who chants his holy name without offenses. So he actually advised his spiritual master. So Madhavendra Puri said, first I am lamenting that I am not remembering Krishna. Now I have whatever good deeds I have done in my life, all are gone because I heard you. Asajiya Bhakta, I heard you. So he fell down because he gave advice to the spiritual master. You cannot advise the spiritual master what to do and what not to do like that. So what happened then he started doing all these offenses because he fell down. So he would go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Bhajan Kutir every morning, and he would find some ants there. You see, he's pointing out to the ants. He would say, you see this sannyasi, he's eating sweets in the night. That's why there are so many ants. Yeah, ants are everywhere. Gardens are full of ants, but he's finding fault. Then he used to feed the devotees very sumptuously. He used to feed them very, the Jagannath Prasadam, very sumptuously he used to feed. Overfeed, eat this also, eat that also, drink this also, drink dal and bhat and 10 types of rice. You see, such a big plate he gives. And then when the devotees will say, no, we don't want, he said, no, you please eat, please eat. The devotees will eat, and after they would eat, he would say that, you see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's disciples, they eat a lot. So you just gave yourself, but they eat. He fell down. It's an example for us. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhupada is not going to give an example of a mundane person. Of course, he was saved later, but this is a defect, criticizing. And the ways that offenses can happen. How can we do the offense? By criticizing a Vaishnava. We can criticize. Unfortunately, this is Prabhupada writing. We are surrounded by neophyte God brothers who do not appreciate the ordinary activities of spreading Krishna, extraordinary activities of spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. They simply try to bring us to their platform, and they try to criticize us in every aspect. We very much regret their naive activities and poor fund of knowledge. Prabhupada brought to Vrindavan and India all his Western devotees. So people in India, specifically in Vrindavan, were unable to accept them based on their skin color. They were not willing to look at the achar and prachar. They were not willing to look at the elevation of the other person in Krishna consciousness. But the skin color was white because they did not speak that language, because they were not born in India, because they were not born in particular family. Prabhupada was facing so much criticism. You hear Prabhupada's lecture in Nectar of Devotion that Prabhupada gives in Vrindavan. Lecture after lecture, Prabhupada talks about it. So every time I hear that recordings, I feel like, my God, Prabhupada is suffering. Like he's having so much pain in the heart that why are these people not able to look beyond the skin? So you see, ISKCON is called as English temple, right? Angrezon ka mandir. No, it is Krishna's temple only. Don't criticize. One is forbidden to observe the activities of a pure Vaishnava from a material point of view. You see, Vasudevan Prabhu is a retired geologist. So he knows the science of the rocks, right? Vasudevan Prabhu, that's what geology is. So I don't know nothing about it. So
Yes,
if I take a stone, a rock in front of him, and I start commenting about it, he will laugh on me, right? He may not laugh outwardly, but inwardly he will laugh that she has no knowledge and she has an audacity to comment. Like that, we don't know how to recognize a pure Vaishnava, but we start finding faults. Right, Vasudevan Prabhu?
Yeah, yes, Mataji.
So
Exactly.
for the neophyte, especially, thank you for backing me up. For the neophyte, especially, considering a pure devotee from material point of view is very ingenious. Yeah, my Guru Maharaj is born in America, my spiritual master. So, but he speaks Hindi here and there. He speaks one word, he throws here and there. So his pronunciation is not proper, but I can relate that there is so much of desire to serve Prabhupada all over the world. But a non-devotee will think that they are trying to, I don't know what they'll think, whatever. One should therefore avoid observing a pure devotee externally, but should try to see the internal features and understand how he is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Okay, look at the activity, spend some time. What are they doing? In this way, one can avoid seeing the pure devotee from a material point of view, and thus one can gradually become a purified devotee himself. We become a devotee by appreciating another devotee. We are not independent. Okay, this is Prabhupada's disciples. Who can name those disciples? Yes. Jayapataka Maharaj and Bhakti Tirtha Swami. So both are from America, but Bhakti Tirtha Swami is from Africa, right? So he started he was born in America, but his ancestors were from Africa. So he started the movement in Africa. And Jayapataka Maharaj is born in America, but Prabhupada told him, go to Mayapur and make Mayapur a worldwide center. So Jayapataka Maharaj went to Mayapur. Prabhupada got him Indian citizenship. That is also a big story. So he's American. He gave up the American citizenship, got Indian citizenship just to serve Prabhupada. And he was born in a multi-millionaire family. Jayapataka Swami Maharaj is from a multi-millionaire family in America. He had no reason to go to India. This is another example of criticism. So Ambrish Maharaj, what is happening? Ambrish Maharaj is a pure devotee of Krishna. So this Durvasa Muni comes and he wants to criticize, he wants to find a fault. That's what a non-devotee wants to do. So what does Ambrish Maharaj do? One drop of water he takes on Dwadashi to break his fast. He comes and makes a big demon out of the hair on his head to kill Ambrish Maharaj. Tell me, is this a reason to kill someone? That they drank a drop of water on Dwadashi? Is this a reason? But Ambrish Maharaj did not revert. Ambrish Maharaj would have very easily reverted, but he took it as Krishna's arrangement. And then what happened? Sudarshan Chakra came. Sudarshan Chakra came and it wanted to chop off the head of Durvasa Muni. How did you offend such a big Vaishnava? And then he was running here, there. He went to Brahma, he went to Shiva, he went to Lord Vishnu. But Lord Vishnu said, unless and until Ambrish Maharaj forgives you, you have no future. Your time is done because you offended a Vaishnava. So he understood and he paid obeisances at the lotus feet of Ambrish Maharaj. Then the Sudarshan Chakra was reverted. He understood that such is the power of a pure devotee. Understand. Okay, this is another pastime from Chaitanya Charitamrita. How we should not, what are the other ways we can commit offense on the lotus feet of a devotee? By finding bodily defects. You're fat, you're thin, your eyes are like this, your hands, whatever. Your pronunciation is like this. Other thing we hear. Your pronunciation is like this. Jealousy. Prabhupada talks about it. This Krishna consciousness movement is a transcendental science, and there is no room for jealousy. There is no room because everything is for Krishna. We understood, right? The jealousy definition of the enviousness is I like what you have, but I don't like the fact that you have it. Right? So this movement is meant for Paramhansas who are completely free from all jealousy. Param Nirma Staranam. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. One should not be jealous whether he is born in a family of Goswami or has the title of Goswami awarded to him. As soon as one becomes envious, he falls from the platform of Paramhansa. As soon as, okay, not a Paramhansa anymore. So I want to read this pastime with you about the jealousy. So if you want to read now, or maybe we can finish the presentation and go back to this Chaitanya Chaitamrita. Gopala Chapal punished. Shivas Thakur's Angan, there used to be a pastime. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to perform his Ashtakaliya Leela. His Ashtakaliya Leela behind the locked doors. They used to lock the door. All night they used to dance and chant. All night. Hare Krishna chanting used to go on. So people were getting disturbed, so they used to lock the door and do it. All Ashtakaliya Leela going on. But this particular fellow, Gopal Chapala, he was jealous that how can they be so happy? So he committed an offense at the lotus feet of Srivas Thakur. This is Srivas Thakur. So we'll read that. Okay. Then an empowered person who is actually engaged in confidential service of the Lord should not be treated as an ordinary human being. For it is stated that unless one is empowered by Krishna, one cannot spread the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Prabhupada was empowered. We have to understand Prabhupada's position is very unique in the history. Especially in International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Prabhupada's position is very unique. Actually, in the whole world, actually in the whole cosmic manifestation, it is very unique. Prabhupada is very unique. He was empowered. So where is Prabhupada here? If you know, then you raise your hand. What place and what temple? Where is he right now? In this picture. Yes, how much do you know about India? You say India, India, India. Yes. No, maybe so. Nobody knows. This is Radha Madan Mohan. This is Madan Mohan temple in Vrindavan. This is the backside of Madan Mohan temple. This is Vrindavan. Okay, so he was empowered. It is offensive to give advice or correct a spiritual master. The advanced Vaishnava is always situated at the spiritual master, and the neophyte is always considered his disciple. The spiritual master must not be subjected to the advice of a disciple, nor should a spiritual master be obliged to take instructions from those who are not his disciples. Okay, don't go on and correcting Guru Maharaj. I have advice for you. If they ask you, that's different. But if you're not asked, then you're not. I am not at the level. So then hear more. You need to hear more. Okay. Can we read the pastime of Gopala Chapala, or you want to go to the chapter? What do you want to do?
Read.
We'll read Mataji.
Read
Mataji.
Thank you. Okay,
Mataji will read Mataji.
Okay, thank you. So I will quickly read Gopala Chapala, how he was jealous of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotees. So this starts from Chaitanya Chaitamrita Adi Leela 17 chapter, text number 34. Read Chaitanya Chaitamrita. Chaitanya Chaitamrita is full of dealings between the devotees. So nectarine. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I'm going to read from here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu regularly led congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the house of Srivas Thakur every night for 1 full year. This aesthetic chanting was performed with the doors closed so that non-believers who came to make fun could not gain entrance. Thus, the non-believers almost burned to ashes and died out of envy. To retaliate, they planned various ways to give trouble to Srivas Thakur. One night, while Kirtan was going on inside Srivas Thakur's house, a Brahmana named Gopal Chapala, the chief of the non-believers, who was talkative and very rough in his speech, placed all the paraphernalia for worshipping goddess Durga outside Srivas Thakur's house. On the upper portion of the plantain leaf, he placed such paraphernalia for worship of udafula, turmeric, vermilion, red sandalwood, and rice. He placed a pot of wine besides all this. And in the morning, when Srivas Thakur opened his door, he saw this paraphernalia. Srivas Thakur called for all the respectable gentlemen of the neighborhood and smilingly addressed them as follows. Gentlemen, every night I worship the goddess Bhavani. Since the paraphernalia for worship is present here, now all you respectable Brahmanas and members of the higher caste can understand my position. Then all the assembled gentlemen exclaimed, "What is this? What is this? Who has performed such mischievous activities? Who is that sinful man?" They called for a sweeper, Hadi, who threw all the items of worship far away and cleansed the place by mopping it with a mixture of water and cow dung. Somebody is unmuted. Please mute yourself. After 3 days, leprosy attacked Gopala Chapala and blood oozed from sores all over his body. Incessantly covered with germs and insects biting him all over his body, Gopala Chapala felt unbearable pain. His entire body burned in distress. Since leprosy is an infectious disease, Gopala Chapala left the village to sit down on the bank of Ganges underneath a tree. One day, however, he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passing by and spoke to him as follows: "My dear nephew, I am your maternal uncle in our village relationship. Please see how greatly this attack of leprosy has afflicted me. As an incarnation of God, you are delivering so many fallen souls. I am also a greatly unhappy fallen soul. Kindly deliver me by your mercy." Hearing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared greatly angry, and in that angry mood, he spoke some words chastising him. "O sinful person, envious of pure devotees, I shall not deliver you. Rather, I shall have you bitten by these germs for many millions of years. You have made Shiva's Thakur appear to have been worshipping goddess Bhavani. Simply for this offense, you will have to fall down into hellish life for 10 million births. I have appeared in this incarnation to kill the demons, Pashandis, and after killing them to preach the cult of devotional service." After saying this, Lord left to take his bath in Ganges, and that sinful man did not give up his life but continued to suffer. So this is the future of a person who is envious of Vaishnava. Don't commit Vaishnava aparad. Of all the offenses, Vaishnava aparad is the most offensive. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discards 10 million birds, discarded. And it is said that one may be chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but Krishna goes away. You may be chanting, does not matter. Okay, so what did we read? I can open the chapter now. We read that the Shuddha Bhakti definition. Then we read that how we should not look at the devotee, and then we also discussed a great deal about Vaishnava Aparad and what are the ways that a Vaishnava Aparad can happen. Okay, so do you still want to read or tired? Because I felt very scared when I was making these slides last night and reading these different pastimes. Do you want to read or do you just want to discuss? I have a puppet show on Ramachandra Puri's pastime to show you all. Please tell me, what do you want to do?
Puppet show.
Puppet show, Mataji. Mataji, anything is fine.
Puppet show, Mataji.
Puppet show.
Puppet show. Reading also is nice.
Whatever you feel right for us.
I know.
Anything is okay, Mataji,
I
as
am
you say.
asking for more. It's a public platform. We can. All right, so we look at Ramachandra Puri and Madhavendra Puri. How did he give his advice to his spiritual master when he fell down? Okay. Then if we have time, we will read, I actually covered the whole chapter in all these slides. I took Prabhupada's excerpts. So this is the puppet show.
Ramachandra Puri's spiritual master, Madhavendra Puri, was at the last stage of his life and was deeply experiencing love for Krishna.
Oh, my Lord Krishna, oh, merciful Master, oh, Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because by not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. Oh, most beloved one, what shall I do now? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
Gurudev, what is this? You should not lament or cry.
Ramachandra Puri.
Remember Bhagavad Gita. Nasochati means never lament. Nakaunchati means never desire to have anything. You should become firmly fixed in knowledge.
What are you saying?
Brahma, Bhuta, Prasanatma. Remember Brahman.
Do not speak like this to me.
Now is the time to become fully aware of Brahman, the great, formless, impersonal light.
Get out! Get out! I don't want to see your face. If I die seeing you, I will not be able to go back to home, back to Godhead. Go away immediately.
Yes, Gurudev, but remember Brahman and be joyful.
Go away! Oh, my Lord, I'm dying without achieving your shelter, and therefore I'm feeling great unhappiness. And now this rascal disciple of mine comes to give me more pain by instructing me about Brahman.
Ramachandra Puri, for his great offense of foolishly instructing his spiritual master, was condemned. Years later.
Ah, Ramachandra Puri. Please accept my obeisances. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
So you finally come.
Yes, I've been touring, and on my travels I've seen many, many holy places, and in each holy place I've seen whichever form of God that was worshipped there.
How long will you be staying?
Actually, I wish to live here, but as I am renounced, being a sannyasi, Swami, Goswami, or Gosai, say my title as you wish, but in any case, I, being fully renounced, sometimes stay here and sometimes exhibit my opulence of renunciation and leave.
Jagadananda, I would like you to meet my godbrother, Ramachandra Puri.
Oh, a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. Please honor me by taking prasadam at my home today.
Thank you, thank you. I've been eagerly awaiting to eat with the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for I have heard much about their eating habits.
Huh?
Let's go.
Please sit down, and I'll bring your lunch, Jagannath Mahaprasad.
Oh, very nice arrangement. Very, very, very nice prasad. More rice, please. More sabji. Rice. This is so enjoyable. Rice. Dal. Sweets, please. More sweets, please. More sweets, please. Sabji and rice. A little more rice on the sabji, on the dal. A little more rice. Thank you. Sweets, please. One more sweet. One more, please. And a little rice. Sabji. And one more sweet. And a little bit more of the sweet sabji. Thank you. Jai. You've certainly taken nice care of me. And now I have a request for you.
And what's that?
Please listen, my dear Jagadananda. You sit right down here and you eat prasadam. I want you to eat prasadam. You eat what's left.
No, that isn't necessary. I'll eat later.
No. You take prasadam now, and I will personally serve you.
Please, no.
I insist. Sit right here and enjoy Lord Jagannath's remnants. Okay? Thank you. Now, first you eat rice. Here's some dal and sabji. Okay. Here's some more rice, dal, and sabji too.
I think that's enough, thank you.
No. You must take more rice. Here's some more dal and rice, and here's sweets.
But I can't eat so much. Please stop.
My dear boy, you can't refuse Lord Jagannath's remnants. Here's some more rice, more dal, and here's that sweet sabji that was so good.
Oh, no.
But I insist. Here's some sweet balls, and here's some yogurt and rice, and here's dal there. And here's some more sabji and rice, and here's some sweets, and another sweet. Okay. Now, have you taken to your full satisfaction?
Oh, yes.
Go and wash your hands and mouth.
And when you return, I have something very serious that I want to speak to you of. Aha! It is just as I had thought. Disgraceful! I had previously heard that the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate more than necessary, and now I have seen for myself that it is true.
What?
First, you forced me to overeat. Were you trying to destroy my renunciation?
I made you eat too much.
Then you greedily started eating. How you insisted on eating more and more simply astounded me. Abhorring. I'll make it my duty to check up on how these devotees eat and sleep. I'll especially gather information on their leader, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
So the envious Ramachandra Puri began searching for faults in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the other devotees. He would arrive uninvited at someone's house and demand food. After being fed, he would carefully keep records on how much everyone else ate. However, although Ramachandra Puri searched and searched, he still could not discover any fault in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
I found one! How can a person in the renounced order of life eat so many sweets? And you all consider yourself followers of that sweet meat eater, don't you? Well, I'm going to Sri Chaitanya's house now for my daily inspection. I mean visit. I'm going to thoroughly search for evidence.
Oh, you are a godbrother of my spiritual master and therefore an honored guest.
Aha! Just see. It is just as I thought. Ants are wandering everywhere. Here is the proof. Last night, you ate sugar candy here, didn't you? Alas, alas, this renounced sannyasi is attached to sense gratification.
I had heard rumors about Ramachandra Puri's blasphemy. And now I have seen for myself the imaginary faults he finds. Govinda! Govinda! Please come here.
Yes, Mahaprabhu?
Tell the devotees that from today on I will eat a few palmfuls of rice only and a small amount of vegetables.
Oh no! Why?
Tell them if they offer me more than this, they will not see me in Jagannath Puri anymore.
Of the small quantity of rice that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted, he only ate half, and the rest was taken by his servant Govinda. Seeing this, the devotees in Jagannath Puri felt as if their heads had been struck by thunder, and so they also gave up eating. When Ramachandra Puri heard of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's reduced eating, he again went to see the Lord.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna.
I have already explained to you that a sannyasi shouldn't eat for sense pleasure. But you have cut your eating in half. Indeed, I see that you are skinny. A sannyasi should not take up dry renunciation either.
My good fortune is that you are instructing me.
Remember the Bhagavad Gita, that yashnatastu yogosti. One cannot perform yoga if he eats more than necessary or needlessly fasts. One must regulate his eating and his sleeping while practicing mystic yoga.
The next day, Paramananda Puri approached Sri Chaitanya with great humility.
Sri Chaitanya, my godbrother Ramachandra Puri is nothing but a harsh critic. Why cut your eating in half?
Sannyasis naturally favor austerity.
That may be true, but why take his word seriously? First, he artfully tricks someone into overeating, and then criticizes him saying,
"You eat too much."
How much money do you have in your treasury?
A sannyasi who eats to satisfy his tongue deserves criticism.
But then Ramachandra Puri overeats and criticizes his host, saying, "You forced me, a sannyasi, to overeat. I can understand you're not advanced."
A sannyasi's business is eating only.
Ramachandra Puri's business is only fault finding. He researches how others eat and how they live their lives. He never sees good in anyone, even if a person has hundreds of good qualities. Sri Chaitanya, why take his petty fault finding seriously? Please eat as much as you were eating before. That is my request.
My dear Paramananda Puri, I shall still eat only half as much as usual.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu acted independently. At times, he heeded Ramachandra Puri's critical words, and at other times, he didn't listen at all. Thus, the Lord allowed the devotees of Jagannath Puri to observe Ramachandra Puri's fault-finding character and see firsthand the devastating effect offending one's spiritual master has upon one's devotional service. One day, however,
Haribol, Haribol, have you heard? What? He's finally exhibited his opulence of renunciation. Has he really? Ramachandra Puri has gone on pilgrimage. Haribol! I'm glad India has so many holy places to visit.
I feel as if a great stone has suddenly fallen off my head to the ground.
Me too. Let's immediately start kirtan. Hare! I've got a better idea. Let's take prasadam.
Haribol, 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 Haribol.
as soon as Ramachandra Puri left, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, began accepting invitations from his devotees as before, and the residents of Jagannath Puri again began honoring prasadam to their full satisfaction.
Very nice, Mataji. We just enjoyed
Very
it.
nice.
Very nice.
Very nice, Mataji.
Beautiful. Mataji, you're muted.
Yeah.
Educated.
So blessed.
Lovely message.
That's quite educated.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the puppet show.
Thank you. So can we discuss now? Can I put some questions in front of all of you? Because will you all read? I actually practically covered the whole chapter in my slides. I picked up Prabhupada's excerpts and made those slides like that. So can I put questions in front of you all now? Is that okay?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
Mataji.
Okay, so buzz around. But please read, and if there is a difficulty, then we can read next time this chapter rather than the other chapter.
Okay, Mataji.
So Vibha is your class monitor. So, okay. What is the meaning of the word Nityananda Vamsha? Okay, I didn't read that. So, okay. The spiritual master must not be subjected to the advice of whom? Nityananda Vamsha is the Goswami title. Prabhupada explains that there are people who call themselves as belonging to the generation of Nityananda Mahaprabhu, and they call themselves as Goswami. That is the meaning, but that actually is not... it may be true that they belong to Nityananda Mahaprabhu's family by birth, but that doesn't mean that it is their birthright only to become Krishna conscious. Krishna consciousness can be taken by anyone. Okay, spiritual master must not be subjected to the advice from whom? Who should not advise the spiritual master? Who has not spoken anything today? Pooja Sharma Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The disciple.
And the people in general. If I'm not a disciple, yes, and the people in general. Thank you. Okay, list some ways how Vaishnava aparadh can happen. Harshita, list some ways, at least 2 or 3, maybe 2, how a Vaishnava aparadh can happen.
Mataji, by criticizing the body color or the way Vaishnava looks. And the second thing is, commenting on the caste, family background.
So criticism in general, then looking at the bodily defects, number 2. Number 3, looking at the family background. Very nice. Thank you. Simi Mataji, yes. Anything to add?
Jealousy, Mataji.
Jealousy, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Anything else? Anyone who has not spoken anything? Dinesh Saxena Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, you are a nectar of instruction. Welcome.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
They should not be treated as ordinary persons. This is also an offense if we treat them as an ordinary person.
Yes, is a materially is a empowered personality. To
Yes,
look at them
pretty
from
added.
the point of view. It's very nice. Okay, so it feels incomplete in my heart because I'm so used to reading with all of you. So, any questions? Do you feel the same that I feel, like in something is missing? Sita Mataji, we can stop the recording. Thank you.